Hello and welcome back. I wanted to jump straight back in without coding sessions because we unfortunately didn't get very far last night and I really enjoyed it. So I'm back. I can also hear myself. Must learn from that because I did the same thing yesterday. Right, we're good. We're live. Desktop audio is off, which is good. If there's any problems with the audio, please let me know. So when we left it yesterday, we had started our project. We had created an engine called Ether, and we were trying to make a main function that would allow us to That's better. Sorry, I lost our screen for a moment there. So we were trying to make a main function that could wrap around in our library. I said that I had a couple of different ways to do it, and that I was trying to do it in the old way, where we were doing it on the original tutorial series. If anyone watched that, but in the end, it was annoying me. It was one of those cases where I had code in one program that was working absolutely fine, and I had the same exact replicated code in a different program, and it wasn't working absolutely fine. And I checked everything. I checked conformance mode. I checked the version. And in the end, I really wasn't that invested on the way I was doing it anyway, so I decided to do it again. And what I've done is that today, I didn't want to go through the idea that we were going to be going all through that, make you watch everything again. So I quickly fixed the code. What I actually did was I started a new solution. I rebuilt what we'd already built. I called it Echoes because I liked the name of Echoes of a Dying Star, or just Echoes in general. I might come up with that later, which I think was slightly better than the name that we had yesterday, to the point I can't even remember what the name we had yesterday. But what have I done? So this is our Echoes class here. This is what we were building yesterday. It is our game class from our Echoes program. This is our game. It runs off of an Ether application class. Yesterday I had this as iApplication. I changed it to application just because I thought I'd try and get this as on the nose as possible. So we've got Ether, which is our namespace for our engine. I removed the namespace for the game because it's not needed. We've got our application up here. And I've just given it some basic initialize, update, shutdown, and I've also made a system in which we can know when we want to shut that down. And it's just, should we mark it for closed? Is it marked for closed? And if marked for closed, then shutdown program is basically what we're running on. And to get that to work, what have we got in here? Initialize. I've got just a basic app name being passed across here. This is working code, so I know this works. And what else I did as well was I created an engine class just to be able to wrap all of this together and correctly just make everything work. So our engine class is here. It also has a run, initialize, update, and shutdown function. That is so that our engine can have an initialize, update, and shutdown function where we can do back-end issues, or we can do issues that or functions that are only ever going to happen inside our engine in those functions, and then when we go to them, they will draw our actual application functions where we are going to be doing all of the updates in our actual game files. So there is also a run function up here, which is just basically our while loop for our message loop, which is basically our main function up here. If application is not equals to null, so if we've set that correctly in the game, if we've not, we're going to just drop a little bit of a message box and return out. Then we're going to initialize the engine itself, which will come down to initializing the engine, and then it's going to run the application initialize. If that is successful, because that's a ball, we are going to then start in our basic update loop, and we're going to say while the application is not marked for closed, which means the minute we run that and we hit marked for closed, that is going to shut down the application. We're going to peak message so it's non-blocking, so it doesn't sit there waiting for a message. It will skip it if it needs it. And then we're going to update the engine, which will then subsequently update the application. And we've got our shutdown functions, which I don't believe does anything on either of these at the moment. And then just in our engine function, I've got two little main or WinMain functions. I took out the debugs. It's not necessary. This is going to run on our debug version, and this is going to run on our release version. Hey Constantine, it's great to see you back. How are you doing? How was your day? You've made me very happy, man, seeing your name come up twice. Great to have you here. Where was I? So these are our main function, and then in here I just rewrote this definition, and what this is going to say is every time we call this ether application definition, which is actually going to be present here, we're just going to say ether application echoes to draw this application into our engine. Yeah, unfortunately, work. I'm a little bit late on the stream tonight as well because I just needed so much to do, but I was really raring to get in here, so I wanted to just get back online. And I put my chair so close to my desk now I can't move. Right, okay. So this is our application. This is our Echoes application. Echoes of a Dying Star. It's a bit of a long name, but I just liked it. I thought you could probably get quite a lot of story out of that. And then that one's through the application. So I'm just going to explain quickly what this does here and what I've made this do. So I've got a struct here, which is completely separate from the engine class. And this is our engine initializer class. Is what I'm doing here is just so that before runtime, I can have a static version of our Echoes program inside our engine. So that the minute I run these main sections, our application is already there. It's already ready for usage. So if I didn't run that, this M application is equal to null pointer would always be there. Point. In fact, if I get with this, it's going to tell me it doesn't have an application. Should do. I haven't tried this. Application not found. There we go. So by putting this in here, it's going to statically add this before runtime, so it's in our application. Why do I like doing it like this? One of the reasons I like doing it like this is because I can do this for class scripts later on. So if I want to make a script for an object, for example, I can do it in this a similar type of struct initialization, which means that again we can have it when at runtime when we initialize. Because it's nice like that. Now, what did we want to do? So this is working. We do have an application. I have come into here. I've said initializing ether engine, and let's come down to here. And I've got a message box in here saying, hello darkness, my old friend. Because it is a dying star, so there's lots of darkness. Hello darkness, my old friend. There we go, perfect. I wrote this early on today, but I really haven't tested it heavily, so let's have a quick look just to make sure it's exactly working as I want it to. This is a debug version, so we're going to have a console box. Let's close that. Let's go to release. I get the slight feeling that I didn't change this or test it earlier, so I think our console box is also going to open here. Note to self, get a faster computer. Yeah, there we go. So our debug box, console box is still opening. So all configurations, release, Windows subsystem. Oh, well, that's a really good question, Thomas. So I'm stuck between, do we go OpenGL because it's easy, or do we go DirectX 12 because I should? And I think we probably know the answer to that one. But before, and I think this is going to give the answer away here as well. What I really want to do is write a Direct 2D into op, so I've got a way of making a UI very quickly. There's two different types of UIs that you need to worry about. One is the external UI, that is the UI for running the Windows, and one is the internal UI. So for example, if you've got a UI running inside your game and you want it to be running on a menu, So I would like to be able to get the internal UI sorted, and I'm thinking Direct 2D because I've made a whole wrapper on that before and it's quite easy. So even before thinking about actually getting into Direct 3D, I might just create a window and just see if I can get Direct 2D wrapped in today. We'll see. There's natural progression steps that I need to do, and I'm not even 100% sure what I need to do today. Yeah, Vulkan. I don't have as much experience on Vulkan as I should have. As I say, I've read the documentation. I have loaded it up. I might even have all of the SDKs for it on my computer, but I've just never actually got round to really looking into it. Right. Okay. So let's start making some moves. So what do we want to do? We need a window. No one wants to see me make another window, but we need one, so I'm going to do it. To do that, we need to come into here, and we need to say core. Now, if I was being really clever, I would probably make it so that you could run. I'll probably make it so that you could run on multiple different frameworks, i.e., Windows, Linux, etc., etc. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to throw us in a Win32 folder. I'm not sure what is better documented, in all honesty. Like, OpenGL is the easiest to find the information on, but most of it's out of date, so you really have to just try and find something that's in date or work any tutorial or documentation into the newer versions. DirectX 12, yeah, it's well documented. I mean, Frank Luna's book's great if you can reorganize it in your head, because it's a really difficult book to understand, because it's a really difficult subject to understand. So he's done a brilliant job, but it still took me quite a while to understand the book. That's Frank Luna's. Yeah, MSDN. Yeah, I get it. But even then, I think the example game is still in DirectX 11. That the one where you fire out the balls at the targets, or the labyrinth. There's also a labyrinth. But yeah, big shout out to Frank Luna and his DirectX 12 book. If anyone has not run out and bought that, please go and do it, because it's the basis of a lot that I do. So I'm going to create a class. I'm going to call it window. Again, you've all seen me make a window before, so I'm going to just try and skip through this section, and I think I have most of this templated. So yeah, Vulkan is a natural progression on from OpenGL. So a lot of people go straight from OpenGL to Vulkan to actually upgrade it. So I think there might be more information on Vulkan because, again, people just upgrade their projects. But yes, I'm well with the mini engine. The mini engine is just brilliant, and the idea. Sorry, Thomas. Sorry, Thomas. Life took over. This is me trying to get back onto our track. Yeah, the mini engine is really good. Window. Now, again, I think I've got all this templated, so let's not rewrite the wheel on something that's going to be really boring. I have about 2,000 projects in my files. Just need to find one that works. I built a DirectX renderer recently. So I think I've got the information in there. Maybe I don't. So as I say, I mean, is anyone working on anything at the moment? Anyone got any projects that they could tell us about that they're working on in the chat? I don't really know what X-Plane 12 is, although anything that's a 3D viewport editor sounds good to me. Again, DirectX 11 is a consideration because I just know it's a lot easier than DirectX 12. My keyboard is set to the wrong language. This is a Spanish keyboard, and as you may be able to tell, I am English, so that's a real pain at all times. Let's throw that over there. A renderer, I mean, I think one goes one of two ways. Trying to build a renderer into a game is hard, and then trying to build a game into a renderer is hard. Like, you get all your renderer built, and then you're like, damn, how do I make a game? Or you get a game somewhat going, and then you're like, damn, how do I build this renderer? What is an airport scenery editor? I'm not going to copy and paste this thing directly. I'm just going to work it out. I made myself a little bit of a type def here, and I put them in capitals because I quite like using the modern W values, which are int in capitals, floats in capitals, etc. So I just thought I'd match those up. I may change it later. I think one of the things I spend most of my time doing is just trying to figure out what to name everything. Yeah, okay. Flight simulator. I do actually have a set of joysticks and HOTAS. I do quite enjoy it, although my computer is not it's not that powerful enough to run Microsoft Simulator, unfortunately. Ick, ick, ick. I I am a very big fan of the game Space Engineers. And I mod that and get involved with the modding community quite heavily, and have done for quite a few years. So I really appreciate you working on another game and what it can take to upgrade something. Because you look at a game, you're like, oh no, this is nearly perfect if I just change this. And as a game developer, obviously that's what we do. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, but it's a passion project, isn't it? I suppose. I mean, you're very unlikely to have ever got Elite Dangerous. Yeah, I mean, I play Star Citizen is a big one that I wish worked, and I would like to play Elite Dangerous. I just haven't. I just haven't. There's not. I'd rather an RPG. I really wish Star Citizen would work. I want something more like an RPG where it's an open world, just like what Star Citizen should be, really. Without the bit where you're in a spaceship and then you suddenly fly through the cockpit for no reason because you've clipped out 700 million my beep. Yeah, Star Citizen, exactly. I can say I've never spent a penny on it. Yeah, I think you paid for 1 pixel somewhere in one ship. 2012? Yeah, it might be. It might be. 2012, 2011, something like that. Just realised that I'm talking without a microphone on. Yeah, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm just going to copy and paste all of this in because it's really not worth reteaching out. If anyone has actually got any questions on how I do this, I think it's very similar to what I've done in the original tutorial series. Just let me know in the chat if anyone's, or if we have got a Discord. I don't think I linked it down below, but I think it's definitely linked on the channel somewhere. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing, please just get in contact on the Discord, and I will be more than happy to explain everything that I'm doing right now. Again, with the Spanish keyboard. Oh, I'm not sure it's even great. I'm just when I was muted a moment ago, I was ranting about the one single area for quests and how the clipping issue is just beyond reason. Is there a class end diagram for what I'm creating right now? Where's the Discord? Let's see if I can get you a link. The Discord, it should be definitely about in my about section. For some reason I have Discord closed, which is just sacrilege. Just creating a free link, and I'm going to put it in the chat, and hopefully there we go. Let me know if you can access that. And don't need that. My OCD says that this has to be a capital letter. So we've got the window title, we've got the window handle, we've got the window size. I always hate this. Hang on one moment. We always do this and then change it later. So M width and M height. As far as I'm aware, Guillermo, the code still works to this day, to the point that I opened up episode 6 yesterday and ran it, and it was still working absolutely fine. However, in the live stream yesterday, I did try and replicate it myself, and I was also having problems. So I have no idea why you guys are having these problems, and because it's so old, I haven't even looked into it, quite honestly. But yeah, it seems to be something that I've noticed where if you've already got the code, it seems to work, but if you try and build it again from scratch, it's for some reason doesn't work, and that's including dependencies, etc., etc., etc. So most annoying. These are for previous width, previous X, previous height are all for your maximize screening. So I'm just going to add those in there as well. Unfortunately, I'm really sorry, Guillaume. I got really ill at some point for about 6 months, just at the end of that series. And by the time I came back to it, I was so far away from it that it was really hard for me to get back into it. And I've tried to get back into it ever since, but honestly, it's a really hard subject, and I really wanted to be able to give a tutorial series that was worth giving, and I always found that quite hard to do because it's a very difficult subject, and I kind of like to be able to teach it quite matter-of-factly and simple. And unfortunately, some of these things are not matter-of-fact and simple, and some of these things I end up just playing with for hours and hours on end. Just trying to get something working, and it was a stupid mistake, and unfortunately sometimes that's not always the best thing you want to see. But I've noticed a few people doing these live streams where they are and it looks really fun. I've done it before on Twitch, but I saw everyone else doing it and I was like, hey, I want to hang out with the community. So yeah, hopefully this gives me the ability to sort of like half dawdle, half chat, and I don't need to be perfect all the time, which is something that again is challenging. Getting your code perfect every single week, as if you are the guru, is sometimes just very challenging to do. And I'm going to stop making excuses now because I've spent the last 10 minutes making excuses, so I'm going to stop doing that. Full screen handle. Why haven't I got a handle reference? Why haven't I got a handle reference? Where's my handle reference? Oh, there's my handle reference. Again, if anyone's just joining in, I am literally just copying and pasting this code over. It really is not that important. It is a window, and I'm pretty sure that everyone knows how to make a window. So if anyone thinks I'm going too fast, anyone thinks I doesn't understand what I'm doing, please let me know. But other than that, I'm just pretty much not commentating what I'm doing because I'm just building a window. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was literally Tokyo's Glyph that really gave me this idea to do, because the guy's a genius. That game is amazing, and on OpenGL and Vulkan, looks like an old Resident Evil. Yeah, Resident Evil. Not what I was thinking of, but yeah, Tokyo Spliff is amazing. Big shout out to him. Although he's very brave, putting his camera on every night. I like to, I like to code in my smoking jacket, so I don't particularly want to be on camera every night. That would be a little bit too much. No, HLSL for DirectX 12. High level shader language? Don't know. I've got to get this templated, this window class, because every time I do this, I notice it's not what I want. I don't want to use that annoying size thing that I wrote on my previous level, and I always seem to take this out of the same old projects. I've done this quite a few times now. Because DirectX is so difficult, I know you asked me earlier, Thomas, what language we're going to be using. But I'm tempted to just put both in, OpenGL and DirectX, because you could just have the benefits of both worlds. You could get something up quick, which was OpenGL, and then you could spend your longer episodes on DirectX, just try and mirror it. So again, it's tempting, but I'm trying not to think too much about what I'm doing. I'm just trying to just play, have fun with it. Don't get lost in that thing where you spend 400 hours planning your project and not actually do anything. What have we got? Vector. Monitor enum proc. I built one last year when I was testing, and then had to come out. It was a basic simple demo. You just click the button and it swapped through the different renderers. But yeah, it's quite easy to do, to be honest. You just have to shut down one renderer and open another renderer up, which is basically what you end up doing when you're just changing scene anyway. So it really isn't that hard to change renderers. It's just quite difficult to build multiple renderers. Hey, dude, we got the Discord. Honestly, I don't end up answering half of the questions. I've got at least 2 VIPs on there that are there near enough all the time, every hour of the day. That sentence didn't make sense. And the guys on there, we got some absolute geniuses on the channel. Much more of a genius than I am. So yeah, if you need anything, just ask, and even if I'm not available, someone will end up answering you. And if it's a really complicated coding question, and you'll get 10 coders just wanting to fix it just out of the facts. Yeah, it's a good moment sometimes. I remember not long ago someone came up with a silly question. I'm trying to get this to work, and it was just one of these really off-the-wall questions of something that, like, as professional coders would just go, just don't do that. There's just a better way to do that. Just don't do it. But it was like, how do I run a for loop without using a for loop or something like that? And about 20 people got involved with it, just trying to fix it, and it was a proud moment. just going a little bit quiet for a moment because I'm sure you're probably as bored about with me making a window as I am with making it. So I'm just trying to rush through it. One of my preferences when I'm building inherited classes is to put an X on the end of all of them. So that's a Project X, Project X, Project X, Window X, Engine X, everything like that. It's not because I'm a fan of Elon Musk, it's just the way I like to do it. But I also know that other people don't like me doing that. So, do you know what, Thomas? You're so right. And I actually do have somewhere lots of libraries that I've built in the past, but I'm just so terrible at making new projects that as I say, I've got about 2,000 different projects, and I really should go through all of them. All of them have got different key gold functions in there and stuff like that. So yeah, I really should just get organized and just start writing myself. For example, this engine I'm making on Canva right now. I mean, I already have this to build. I could just load it in, but that wouldn't be a good stream, would it? So I'm literally copying and pasting the code over for the window from a different. Yeah, I could just make a DLL and probably should. You're very right. But if we all did what we should do, then the world would be a better place. Yeah, Boost is. Have used Boost before. I can't remember what because it comes in different libraries, doesn't it? And I've looked into lots of different libraries. So, for example, you can get Boost networking and Boost entities and Boost etc. etc. And you only have to use some. I have used it. I'm always kind of a bit scared of it though. I kind of get the feeling you're going to add more into your program than your program's going to actually be. Also, I mean, there's a common theme of my channel is that we just don't like libraries. Me or the guys who are the VIPs or the council members, um, we just don't like libraries. If you can build it yourself in a couple of days' work, then you do that. Because no code is ever code that you like unless you build it yourself. I'm sure everyone's sitting here watching me build code, going, "I wouldn't do it like that. That's wrong." So which I'm open for. Honestly, I'm quite open for. If anyone wants to critique my code, I am more than happy to listen because that's one of the other reasons I thought about doing this live is that there's always things that we can do better. So full screen is not a word. It is in my language. One net capital S there. Right, okay. I mean, this is giving me like, yay! I have finished creating. What else do I need in here? All of these ones, handle. These should be up here, shouldn't they? Because these are all my getters and setters, all my accessors. Should we be good and actually put some comments in here? Eek. Variables. Suppose you're going to put comments on one. You should probably do it on all of them, shouldn't you? So this is going to be the first one I've actually put them on. So accessors. In C Sharp, there's a region section which lets you just wipe out everything apart from your areas, which is lovely. I don't have GitHub Copilot. I'm not a great fan of Copilot in general, but I'm actually getting a free license of it from work in a couple of days. So watch this space, and we'll see how wonderful coding with GitHub Copilot is. Although my brother is a budding game designer, not much experience, but lots of passion. Definitely a lot more than someone who's had 20 years of experience behind him. And he has just made an absolutely amazing game on Unity in just about a week, and it was literally near enough all of it was being helped by ChatGPT. So it really just goes to show in what an amazing world we live in these days. Not taking it away from my brother's skill at all, mainly because he could be one of our viewers today. This whole coding on autopilot because you're talking and streaming is interesting. Still not very good at it. Yeah, I think you need to be a coder. It is helpful to got to get used to this as well. Reading out what you're saying, what you're asking me, so that anyone watching later actually knows what we're talking about. Yes, it does make a lot of mistakes too, but that's why I think you need to be a programmer to be able to use the AI to be able to be a programmer for you. But I tell you what, for the idea of when you've got one of those things, I had it the other day where I had at least 4 different enums which had at least 20 different sections, and I wanted to convert them languages. Now I could have done that manually myself, but it just becomes so much easier when you say, Japiti, please just translate all of this for you, and it just makes you out the list straight away. It is just an amazing world we live in. I mean, I've got it open now. Anyone who codes without some form of AI open on your side is just mad. Here's full screen, and here is our center window. Handle is handle, center window, center window. That ick. Let's go with. Ooh. How does one spell width these days? Width, height. Again, just hit the ease of it. Just sometimes you've got like 6 hours worth of coding ahead of you, and a lot of that is not even going to be you thinking. It's just going to be manual copy and paste. It's just makes life fun again. It sounds really bad, doesn't it? Like I'm really depressed or something. But no, yeah, AI just makes life wonderful. Right, okay, I have literally just added this, copy pasted this Windows class in with no knowledge on whether this has actually worked or done anything. So let's see if that works. Win32 window. Probably make a Oh, okay, okay. Again, this is just me doing this for speed. I know we shouldn't be putting anything in the .h file, but I'm just doing it for speed. I can fix it later if there's any problems. I tell you what, they're growing. They're growing from a couple of what was it, like 6 months, a year ago when they were first coming on the market and they could hardly do anything. Yeah, the fact that they can translate shader code is just ridiculous. Because I mean, is shader code that hard? But I mean, yeah, it's just ridiculous. My point here is the shader code hard, or is the things we do with the shader code hard? Because actually, I mean, GLSL, HSLL, they're pretty much the same. It's just different syntax than what we're already using. Hey, you're accessible. What did I just do? There we go. Right, okay. So we've got a window. We're going into our initialize function. Not that one. That one's run. Yay. M_window equals new 32 window. We need a title for this, and we already have a title for this. This is going to be M under application dot app name. Was I really bad and didn't create an accessor for that? Yeah, but again, is it the code itself, or is it what we do with the code? Because I mean, anything you actually do with a shader, it's just going to be complicated. Like, it's complicated subjects, but it relies way too much on maths. I quite like AI being there because I'm not a mathematician. Yeah, I mean the syntax is quite easy, isn't it? Like it reminds me of what, Lua, Python. Just making an accessor for our app name class. I do not need to change it, so that should be enough. Again, Python is not one that I've used an amazing amount. It's not OOO, it's not object oriented, and I've just never had much time or need to use it. That being said, I've read it. I know obviously it's such a big language that you come across it all the time, no matter what. I've read it. It seems easy. Should be humble there, shouldn't I? It seems manageable. I just never particularly had that inkling to need to use it. App name, return app name, engine. Underscore app name, app name. What is my problem here? That is a W string. That's a W string. That's a W string. That's a W string. In a moment, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll leave you guys here, but I could do with another cup of coffee. String, 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 string. Engine. Give me the string. What is this? Oh, yeah, it's just because we haven't finished it off. So what? 800 times 600? There we go. I do this. We're in release mode. Let's take off the release mode. Let's put it on debug. I do this. We should see a window. Drum roll, please. Why does it do this now? Is there an upgrade on? You should be able to click these and it goes straight to the error. Page 15. Okay. Pretty sure I probably have a. Where's the other one? 30. Yeah, I definitely think it's break time. My voice is getting all croakly. Try that again. Run it again. Please show me a window. And then we can all go and get a biscuit. That's a cookie for any of my American friends out there. But we have a window, and it's a lovely, obnoxious pink. And the reason it's a lovely, obnoxious pink is because I do not ever want to see that lovely, obnoxious pink. So that is my default color. The idea is that I am going to replace that with the DirectX 12 and Direct 2D renderers, and therefore I should never, ever, ever have to see that pink again. But by the fact that the pink is there means I know it's working. We should probably get rid of this Hello Darkness, my old friend. Right, now we have a window. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and take a 5-minute break, go and get some water. And then when I come back, I think what I want to do is I want to set up a C# project and just get this same exact window to appear inside a C# project. Just so that if I want to add extra external UIs later, I can, because I'm probably going to do the WPF for the external UI. But I've been waffling for at least half an hour already, so I am going to go and get a glass of water. Have fun, I'll be back in a minute. Hello, and thank you for your patience. I've got coffee, and like every good programmer, if I do not digest 15 cups of coffee an hour, then I stop thinking in code. So that was a joke for anyone who is starting to get worried about me. So here we go. We've got a couple of the initialized Ether engine, Win32, and these are our outputs that we're using Coot for in here. I think it's fair to anyone that has just joined, they may be new, not seen my tutorial series. So I think it's just fair that I just go through what this class does, how it works, etc. just quickly. And then if anyone wants a copy, it's here on the screen, and I'm sure you can just pause it, watch this back, pause it, and get all of this code. So let's go through it quickly. It's a class. This is C++. Welcome to coding. Welcome to Olympus Mons. Again, that was a joke. This is a class called Windows. It runs off of the Win32 API substructure, which is only available on Windows. If you want to make something for Mac and Linux, this is not going to work. But I am not making anything for Mac and Linux right now. I just want to make a game. So it has some variables in it. It has the window title. I did notice that that's when we run this, it doesn't actually give us our window title. If you click on the console, while it's loading up, it doesn't actually continue. It doesn't have a name there. That's because I generally wipe out that line, but that can be created in here. You can just go export title. Not C string? You're going to give me grief because you're not a C string. Yeah, you are, aren't you? Right, okay. This is why we were using W strings for everything. Right, okay. Is it easier to get a conversion in place already, or is it easier just to drop that into a W string? It's easier just to drop it back into a W string, isn't it? There was no specific reason I needed the other one not in a W string. Some people say that it's really annoying when you're watching any form of tutorial series and the guy goes backwards and forwards and keeps changing things. And I say to that, I'm very sorry. But this is not meant to be. This is not Olympus Imperator is a master coder. This is, we are coding on the fly. And trying to keep up. Okay, Thomas, we'll see you soon. Go walk that dog. The animals are better than us, is my opinion. Right, okay, so, and then we've got that M title, and that M title should work. We've got window in there, we've got window in there. If we then go back to engine, that's not going to work, so that's not, so we need to change application to a W string as well. We need to change that one to a W string. This one. Okay, stop making stupid noises. Are we Europe based? I am currently living in Spain, Barcelona, which is lovely. I definitely suggest everyone should come out here at some point. Where is everyone else based? Although I am living in Spain, Barcelona, but you may notice this is most definitely not a Spanish accent. Window, application, there, which means we then need to go back to echoes because we were declaring it there, which means we now need to declare that with an L. And I no longer need to create a converter, which we're going to have to do at some point anyway, very soon, but just not right now. Echoes of a dying star up there, so our title is working. Let's get rid of this dodgy pop-up message. It was handy for a while, but we don't need it anymore. That's fine, that's fine. So I was explaining this class. We create the window class, and then it goes straight into our register and create class functions. Now, I could and maybe even want to. Is this public? Yeah, so what I could do and maybe even want to is actually just making it so that I actually choose when we create the window. Just gives me a little bit more control. we come in here, we register a window class. This is going to be a WC Windex class X, window class EX. And that one has extra features than just a basic window class. We are going to put some basic functions in here. Horizontal redraw, vertical redraw, size of to declare the function size. The actual message handler we're going to use, which is setup message handler. I will come back to that later. Don't know. H instance, which is a trick for all H instance users. Anyone who is still trying to grab the H instance from the Win main is should probably just do it like this. Get module handle null will get you the default H instance from anywhere. And we are naming our class window X, which is where we're going to put it in our create method. Right, okay, and then we run that, we create it. I actually assigned the background color of the obnoxious pink so that I know when and how it is working. Once the class has been created, we'll then go into our create. So we'll come into here, I'll post a little message out here. Again, I want to change that, I don't like it. We create a window. This is not used, it's not even used. This is not used. I think we had a previous comment about that on the previous series that I was trying to be all fancy with that and it wasn't working. Should probably be able to turn on that. So this is really old code, so as much as I would like to have this working, I've probably fixed this like 400 times already. So we create a window, we use the create window class, then we show the window and we update the window. This setup message handler, what this is going to do is normally when you're using a message handler on Windows, you use an external class function. You use an external function and then you wrap round in there, you say that the instance of that links back to the class you're using it from, and then you use everything like a pointer on a class pointer. This little magic here actually makes it so that if you're on NC Create, it makes a permanent redirect over to this assign message handler, which goes into the assign message, makes a permanent redirect, which puts it to an inbuilt class message handler. So then we have our actual message handler class here, which is internal and still works, and it's not static, so you don't have to keep on calling an instance of everything. It's really handy. Right, okay, let's have a look in here. This is in here, this is on create, this is on initialize. Let's hit play. And it works, and it's pink. Right, okay, let's have a look in here. Let's create a new, not in application, in engine. Now let's put it in here. Add a new one, go new project. You can see I've been practicing on a lot of different project types recently just to see what one is best, and I still just prefer C# and WPF, to be honest. It's just so easy. So then we've got, what do we call our game? So we're going to call this one the Echoes Editor. Oh, back. Put it in here, but let's not put it in Echoes of Eternity. Called it Echoes of Eternity. I think I need to change that. Echoes, apps, Echo Editor. Perfect. Create. Just going to open one of my other C# files, so again I can copy and paste some code across. Now WPF is good, I like it. It's quite easy to make these little windows and it's got a lot of functions, and C# in general is just really nice and easy to use. So it's a good option for a UI. I could use IMGUI. Could use UWP, which is still C#, but I kind of just like this way. It's easy to do. Right, okay, so one of the problems here is that if we come into our app.xaml, it says that we want to start up in that window specifically, and I don't like doing it like that. I'm still quite I like a main function type person, so I'm going to change that so I don't have to rely on that. So someone said to me earlier, why don't I just make this into a DLL? And I actually have a Windows library for this as well. But again, that's not doing it on screen with you guys. So just realised the code I'm looking at is probably slightly too complicated for what we want to do right now. So let's just go to ChatGPT, and I think it's on startup. What is the on startup function for WPF app? Here we go. Thank you, Sire. If anyone thinks that was cheating, yeah, it probably was, but it was quick. And that way it means I can get rid of this. And again, that's just allows me to have a little bit more control over my actual program than just going straight into a window. Oh, look, that's the non-editor, isn't it? Now, why have I got, and why don't I just build everything in the editor? Why don't I just build everything in C++? Well, this gives me the idea that if I run echoes, stop that. If I run echoes, this is like I'm running the actual game itself, full screen. And if I'm running this, I can access echoes data, but it'll give me an extra overlay layer. So this will never actually go out to anyone. This is just for me and my developers and my team if I was to do it. Generally, like happens, like GTA has an in-house editor. Space Engineers has an in-house editor, so it's quite standard for games companies to have their own in-house editors that they don't give out, which is how the Unreal Engine started as well anyway, because it was for Unreal Tournament. Right, okay, let's have a look. Enough talking. I remember what I wanted to do quickly. Silly thing, but I wanted to do it anyway. Editor. Engine. While we're making this, we'll say hashtag if ndef, also called a pound sign for anyone who's old enough to remember what one of those is. Ndif, if not def, debug. There we go, and then we should say m underscore window full screen. Put that on release so that it actually works. Inaccessible. Let's have a look why that is. Oh, now we've got lots of different windows and we're confusing ourselves. Public. When I created this, did I center it? No, I did. So by calling center window, it will obviously center the window. Let's try this again. Where is it going to center it? Is it going to center? I've actually got 3 monitors in front of me. So when I'm working like this, I never know specifically. There's a small part of me that thinks that that did not center that window. No, even over 3 monitors that are identical, that is not a centered window. And yeah, I definitely called it. That's just mean, isn't it? It's probably because I need to do it on the update loop. Never mind. But this one I do want to work. So let's have a look, see if I can get this one to work. We're on. So the idea being, if we were in a released game and we were what I was saying about having extra monitors is coming back to bite me. If we were in a real game and we were on release mode, we would expect to go straight into a game and we would expect that game to immediately go into full screen mode. And therefore, I have. And unfortunately, because we haven't done anything with the actual game yet, it's unescapable. I could write an if escape pressed, then exit out of window, but I'm not going to do that because it's not going to be in the final game. So no point doing it right now. Right, let's have a look back at this. Where have we got? We need close everything, close echoes, and let's just go to the echoes editor. Let's get rid of the main window because no one invited you. Let's add some windows in here. So I'll call this one elements because what we're going to do is we're going to create a Win32 wraparound. I'm going to call it game window host. Could have been maybe slightly more on the nose with that and call it a Win32 game window host, but I think this will do. And then we want to add in a HNWHWND host. Going to give us grief, but one of the joys of C++, C#, sorry, is the fact that you can just do that. You can do that, which is just absolutely amazing. One moment, please. Right, okay, so this one, what we need to do is we need to pull in a DLL function. I have a C++ .dll backend program in Win32, and I want to create a window from there in WPF C#. Please give me the backend code for the window in Win32. If anyone thinks I'm cheating by using ChatGPT, please let me know. But this actually means that I'm going to have to create a new interop. Let me have a look at something quickly. Have a look at this folder. So in Echoes, we're in Engine. No, Echoes, Apps. Echoes of Eternity, which again I need to change. .lib. .lib. But if I was to just... So what I'm considering right now is do I make another program which is a .dol? Ease, Zachary. There are so many different theories on how to make a UI for C++, but none of them are good. I know a lot of people love IMG UI, but I've just never really got along with it or liked. I've tried to add it a few times, but I've just never really liked it. Whereas WPF is really easy to do. You just write a few interrupts between C# and C++ and it works. If you want to use one of Windows's inbuilt C++ UI editors, you've got UWP, you've got WinUI 3. And I was looking at them this week because WinUI 3 is very like WPF in C#. And you can pretty much get away with the same type of coding as I got rid of the window, but this XAML type coding that you'd make a window in WPF, you can pretty much get away with that in UWP and WinUI 3. Only difference is you do that with a WinRT interop layer, which is just not pretty. And honestly, that's my preference. The fact that it's not pretty. You add so many extra not third party, like Microsoft functions just to get it to work. It's easier to just do this, no functions. I write the interrupts I want. And also just C# just gives you more information quicker and easier. Just the way that you can concat strings easier. It's just lovely. The fact that you can put a URL address in a string without it going crazy because you've got too many backslashes or whatever. It's just lovely. Not to say that there is any comparison to C++ at all, because there is no. C++ will always be the ultimate language. It's just hard and takes a lot of work, which means if you can take a little bit of your headaches away from you just by using C# or using some other programs, it makes it a lot easier. Now I'm just opening again. I've got 1,000 programs on here, 1,000 projects, and I've actually got a dedicated Win32 host program. So I'm just going to open this up and see how we go. Right, here we go. Again, just copy pasting because this is not revolutionary. m_window handle. We're not getting a 7th episode. I apologise. I really do apologise. I'd love to put in a 7th episode, but it was written quite a few years back now, and a lot of things about that program, it's just not how I'd like it these days. So if anything, you're going to get new stuff. We're not going to be rehashing the old stuff. However, this is what I'm working on at the moment. So this engine that I'm working on at the moment on this live stream with you guys is going to have DirectX in it, 12, and it may also develop. I'm also thinking, because I can't really talk about what it's going to be because we're only on the sort of like the 2nd episode and I'm only still just writing the basic classes, so being humble is good. But I'm considering also putting OpenGL and maybe even DirectX 11 in, just so that we've got something easy to play with, because it just cuts out half the functions, and might be a little bit nicer to sort of teach out as well. So we'll see. It's all a mystery. It's all magical, and we will see how it goes. Right, okay, so let's have a look. Let's create a new project. Let's make it an empty project just because I can't be bothered to go through the pre-generations. I'm really glad to hear that, Xenox. It really killed me that I had to stop. I was explaining earlier that unfortunately I had a couple of I had a really bad 6 months to a year where I was literally on my back, and unfortunately when I got back to the series, it's just been too long, and I wasn't in that moment, and it was just too hard to get back into. So I have spent years trying to play, all this time trying to think about how to get back into it. And to the point that, to be honest, sometimes you can overplan things, and I think that definitely that this whole series has been overplanned so much that I was never doing anything, which is why I just thought to myself over the last week or so, maybe you should just get on live, do it, and then yeah, just don't think about it. Just get on with it. Don't think. Just code. Let's go back into here. Let's go into our engine folder. No, we don't want it in Ether. Do I want it in Ether? No, I don't want it in Ether. What do we call it? Engine DLL? Engine linker? Engine. Let's just call it engine. Project engine is already present in the solution. It's not, is it? It's because I've got a... Rename. No, okay, maybe there's just a better name to name that. It really is an old meme to say, oh, I spent 4 hours coding today. Oh, what did you achieve? I was like, oh, I put a square on the screen. That's a lot of hours. Just put a square on the screen, isn't it? I was like, no, it took me 10 minutes to put the square on the screen. I spent 4 hours just trying to figure out what's the name of the thing. Right, okay. Engine DLL, because I am really nice and original. Engine DLL. First thing we're going to do. Edit the engine DLL, get rid of the Win32 stuff. Get rid of the X64 stuff. We'll keep the any CPU because that's C# and I can't be bothered. We need to copy and paste a few of these over, don't we? So, output directory. If we are on release, it needs to go to the bin64 folder. If we are on debug, it needs to go into the debug folder. Boom, apply, and put those back on all configurations because otherwise I'm going to mess it up later. Put these on the latest preview. Anything else as I pause just to try and figure out if there's anything else that I want to put in here. Probably not for right now. Right, what is our... Sorry, I'm pausing a moment as I'm thinking, just trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing and where we're putting it. Right, okay, so our engine is called Engine DLL. And theoretically, it should be in the same folder as we're using, which means we shouldn't need to declare it any further than that. We are going to need a program, a function. I think I've called function everything apart from a function tonight. Function in there, and we're also going to put another one in there called doRender. Slash this to doRender. What's everyone's opinion? Is this how most people spend their time copying and pasting code over, or do you end up writing it from scratch? Because I do think that I've been coding for 15, 20 years now, and I've got so many old programs that the idea of actually writing anything from scratch these days just seems a little bit redundant, I think is the best word for that. We need a public game window host. Again, this is the point where you start getting really confused because you're jumping between C# to C++. But it's a good exercise. It keeps you on your toes. Now, I didn't actually write this original one, so that any of these that I'm changing is because I didn't write it originally. It just doesn't match with my personal style. Like a fedora also doesn't match with my personal style. I mean, who can honestly wear a fedora? What's the reason behind the C# editor project? Yeah, I did already answer this. It's fine. I'll answer it again. For ease, C# is easy. WPF is easy. Alternatives are either ick or just too much more. So again, ease of use. Yeah, definitely. Zachary. UWP. WinUI 3 is how Microsoft wants you to be making UIs today. Okay, those are the newest Microsoft packages out. And if you load up any of those, they use the Windows Runtime or WinRT, which basically gives you a hybrid version of C++ and C# that you can use both in one page, which is really novel and really interesting. And if no one's ever used WinRT, I definitely suggest going and having some fun with it. But then there is a lot of background functions that you need to run to get it to work in the way that you want it to, which are made by Microsoft, and they're icky and they don't look nice. And for that reason, going on the fact that I can just write some of these types of code here that I've got in front of me really quickly, why should I put WinRT in? Why should I make my code full of unreadable when I can just add these two functions in, create myself a C# with WPF editor, and it works perfectly fine, and it's all created with me. So not only ease of UI, but it's really easy to plug this in and make it work. I hope that answers your question. WinUI is exactly the same as this, from what I've seen. And there's not an amazing amount of documentation online, apart from the MSDN, obviously. But it's exactly the same as WPF. So I think it's a matter of choice. If you prefer to just do everything in C++, then use WinUI, because you can maybe just get around and learn all of the intricate Microsoft functions. Maybe you only need to use them for 5 minutes, and then you can just completely ignore them, and then it's your program. And you have the joys of using it in C++. But I personally quite like C# because it's quite nice to spend an hour on C++ doing something really complicated that you know you've done some really hard work, and then go and spend an hour in C# and not even think about it. It's just quite good flow like that. And then we'll add JSON and Lua and Lua for scripting, Python for scripting, and we'll just have, and then we'll make a web handle, and we'll use PHP. Right. Okay. So I also explained this as well, but I'll repeat it anyway. It's not a problem for anyone who's just got back. This editor is for me. Okay. if you've got GTA, the Rage engine, what is it? The Rockstar Advanced Game Engine also has a Rage editor. And the people at Rockstar will use that in-house. Most other companies will have an in-house editor. Okay, so that they can develop their game through their staff in their thing. But if it's your editor and it's in-house, you're the one supplying the computers. Which means if you want your entire staff base to be working on only Windows, then that's your choice. Which means if I want to make my editor on only being able to work on Windows, then I can. So I think with the editor, it depends if you're trying to make an editor that you can give out to everyone, like as a marketable product, or you're looking for an editor for you and your game. Because if you're looking for an editor for you and your game, only you are ever going to see it. And only you are ever going to run it. It's the actual game yourself that you want multi-platform. And if that's the case, I mean, you can just create a window in OpenGL if you need to. Qt, IMGUI. They're all multi-platform bases. There's lots out there. I just don't own a Mac, so I might as well just keep it on Windows. My policy, my idea is that if I need to build something on Mac, it's because I've made £100,000, and I need to build it on there. And at that case, then I will get some. Then I'll dedicate my time to it. Then porting it over, and PlayStation, and Xbox, and I don't know, calculator. Unfortunately not, no. I would love to be working for Ubisoft, but no, unfortunately. I work as a senior specialist at a digital marketing and transport firm, which is the most boring title in the world. But unfortunately, Ubisoft haven't noticed me yet. I'm living in Barcelona. They're right next door. I've applied a few times and they haven't noticed me yet. So that's what that is. And you got to pay the bills. I've got a house. I've got a couple of kids. You got to pay the bills, and if someone's willing to pay you, you do it. So no, unfortunately, I'm not working in the game industry, but I would love to. I'd quite like to go and work for Keen Software House, makers of Space Engineers, because I love that game. I think it's one of the best games ever created. Well, I'm going to do this really janky and really quick, so I'm just going to put a window in here. We're going to call it game window. I think later on what I generally do is have one window and then make lots of user controls so that you can just swap windows within the same window, screens as it were. But for right now, just to get this working, let's just throw it in a basic game window. And then we want to come in here and we just want to say local, and then give me that element. Oh, I need to, no, I don't. We need here a new one of these. So tutorial in C#, for anyone who doesn't know, this is basically your include file here. So I need to make another include. I'm going to call this elements and it goes into Echo's editor, but then we need that one after. Pretty sure that's correct. No, I'm pretty sure that's correct. I'm going to call it anyway. Elements, and then what is it called? Game. Sometimes with C# and WPF, you actually have to build it before the errors go away, which is really annoying because now I don't know if I've got an error or not. Let's have a look at some already made windows. So I was working on a old text-based game that I managed to get working the other day. Ah, dots. It's dots. So I have that program open beside me, as well as multiple others, to help me guide me through elements. Name does not exist in editor.elements. Bloody well does. Game window again. I think this is one of these things where it's just lying to me. Did that work? Did that work? No, it didn't. Aha! Game window. Game window. It's my game window. And the reason I'm doing this right now, because I'm not actually planning on really focusing on making the editor. I just want to, this is just me getting my foundations correct, like getting all my programs mapped out. So I need to go here, I need to go here, I need to link this to there, so that when I'm actually getting into proper development, I know everything is balanced correctly. And that's the reason I'm focusing so much on C# and getting an editor, even though I'm probably not actually going to use it much right at the beginning. There we go. Right, okay, that's perfect. That doesn't work because we don't have that same function in here, but it does mean that at least from a perspective of that editor, it is working, and we can probably close most of that down. I do not like having multiple separate header. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I was actually thinking exactly that yesterday when I was listening to my own code. Quickly, let me just explain what I was doing. So I don't like having the header and the source in here because it just gets confusing. So I generally just go to properties, copy everything out from here, just put it into source, and that way, if I create a new function, file anywhere, it automatically goes into the source files, which sounds better. Yes, I agree. I want the space station sounds back, but I'm not very good at YouTube streaming, so I don't really know how to. I know you should be able to get like a screen saying I'm waiting, like I should have a pause screen. I know you can do lots of these things. I just don't know how to do it yet because I'm still quite new to streaming, and I don't have the power of Adobe behind me. So yeah, I mean, if you know how to do that, Xenox, come back to me after the stream on the Discord and we'll chat, and I'll get them back for next time. Okay. Right, okay, engine DLL. We set this up correctly, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Need to add project reference to Ether and yeah. Let's not 100% sure what I'm going to call this at the moment, but so right now I'm just going to call it interrupt. I had this really annoying problem, which happened like 3 days ago, where my mouse just absolutely died and stopped working. So the mouse I'm usually used to working on, my gaming mouse, is unfortunately dead for some reason, and I haven't managed to get a new one. So I am working on the most officey Dell mouse. It's absolutely horrible. This is why you can probably hear it through the microphone. Right, okay, what do we need? We need interrupt. Do I even... let's have a look. What I need is a function here called Don't know why you're insisting on re-referencing that. WND will work absolutely fine. Windows.h. Okay, so we've got a initialize window function in here. Sorry about that. I was just thinking about the best way to do this, because we actually already have a window class in our ether. So I mean, we can just do that from there. We should just be able to. First of all, if we take this, we go add reference to ether, all configurations, general, include directories. Engine ether. Cool. That's in there. Input ether dot lib. Add additional libraries. Let's go back to our. I'll tell you what I can do. I can just go debug. Yes. And then I can open this one because that one's already there. That's on debug. Change that to release. Just so we're linking up the. Thank you. Which means if now I've just done all of that, it means I should now be able to just go include Win32 window. Ba-bum. And then we should just be able to do the same thing as we've done before, which is if I go Win32 win ether 32 window m underscore editor window, then I should be able to go editor m under editor window equals new window using namespace ether. You go away. You go away. Win32 window. I don't know if it's actually going to work. Maybe I need to do this manually, but let's just try it. What is going on with my keyboard? Better. As I said earlier, Spanish keyboard, so I'm no, handle. Right, okay, so does that work? Is that going to work? Is there any chance that that's going to work? What else do I need to do? Need another function in here called do render. And this one. I don't think I need to do that, but let's try it anyway. So theoretically, our window's pink. Let's see if this is pink. Oh, well, that one's pink, but that's not the one we wanted to see. Let's try this one. Go away, Echoes. Echoes editor. See if this one's pink. Ooh. Okay, interesting. Include string. Oh, right, okay. How do we stop that doing that? Let's temporarily, while we're working on the editor, let's set that one as the startup program. No, I'm not. What am I missing? Let's try. In 2 seconds, if this is not working, I'll just go back to the way it says it is on the code in front of me. This is what I get for trying to change the code without actually thinking about it too much. What am I doing? Interop. Include. Ether. Huh. Well, that's a bonus for a start. Let's build this. Can we build this? Yeah, we can build this. Where have you built? I actually need one moment, please, while I have a verbal breakdown. Just trying to figure out where I have saved this. So I'm expecting if I come into here, I come into here. I don't think I ever set that to actually create as a DLL, which is probably the reason we're having problems. Not to mention the fact that I have definitely set that. Yeah, of course you're not. Quickly, before, there we go, there's that DLL. So quickly before I go too far, let's just try that again, now that that's in there. Boom! Main window dot show app dot app. Must be a child window. Right, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes absolutely perfect sense. So that means I'm going to have to write. Let's just do this. So because we are hosting the Win32 window inside the WPF, it needs to be seen as a child window because it is going to be a child window. However, later on, when we are actually using this as a non-editor window, we don't want it as a child window. So we're going to have to change this later. And I will work out a way to actually make that work. Let's try that again now that this is a child window. Yeah, well, it is, but maybe that just didn't build. One's building. Again, it definitely is a child. Oh, well, here we go. I mean, we can see that we've got our editor there. We can see it's a pink window. It's in there. It's working. It's hosting over from the other one. Only in our window.h class did I set it to this obnoxious pink window. So, like I explained earlier, if we're seeing an obnoxious pink window, that means it's working. I am obviously getting errors in here, and I do need to go and fix them, but I am quite happy for right now just to know that this is actually working. And especially as even before I did this, I already said that this is not the workaround. This is not how this should be done. I just put this in here for a temporary state. I should go and fix that error, but I think fixing that error is going to be a bigger task. And I think that is good progress for tonight. We've got a Win32 window, we've got an editor, and we've got an editor window. What I will probably do is I think I'm going to leave it for tonight. I've been online for about 2 hours already. And I think the longer I go on for, the less I can speak, and the harder it is to keep going. So I think 2 hours on live is good. I'm going to be on the Discord afterwards if anyone wants to chat. And what I will probably do is before our next live stream, I will just have a look at what we need to do to get this child window in. Probably make a quick update so that when we get onto the next live stream, that will be done. I can show you what I've done, and then we can move on to something else. I don't know what that something else is going to be yet because, again, I'm on the fly and I will think about it. I'm not going to be streaming this weekend as I have to play Father, so I will see everyone next week. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye. Hit up the Discord as well.